Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. I'm Gigi Alive. I'm going to do a really tough video for me, but I think it's time for me to give a disclosure about everything that's been going on in my life because I haven't been able to do a video recently. I usually do videos on reselling, Poshmark, plant-based dieting. I'm a survivor of health issues, so I talk a lot about that. But I want to do a video on survival, love, family, and the Red Table Talk series that has been, for me, really a lifeline. It's a show that Jada Pinkett Smith has out with Facebook, and I'm sure a lot of people have, been scrolling through their Facebook and seen a few of their videos, and for some reason I thought I'm going to go ahead and try to do a video just endorsing it, but also talking about how it has helped me during my time of struggle. So we're right now in the midst of the corona pandemic. We have lost, it's August. My birthday was just actually a couple of days ago, so I turned 51. And it is August, and August 13th, 2020, and we are still dealing with trying to push through this corona pandemic. In June, the middle of June, we were given the horrible news that we lost our son. And just like Jada Pinkett Smith says about Trey, he was my bonus son, which I have had in my life since he was 4 years old. And it's still very raw. It's something I try not to talk about because I usually get very emotional about it. I try to have a day without crying, but sometimes I even feel guilty when I don't cry because then I'm not thinking about it. But when people say, is there regret in your life? I don't like it when people say, no, I don't have any regret, because then I think you don't have any remorse or you're not being truly honest. And for me, there is much regret. But when I think about my son, my bonus son, I do have a lot of regret. And the biggest regret I have is trying not to be a mother that's smothered. But to be a mother that stood back and kind of allowed, life to happen with my children, all of my children. And I don't want to overprotect. I don't want to be the person telling them what to do. And the regret I have is that when that person that you love so much, that child that you bathed, clothed, took places, signed up for summer programs, celebrated birthdays, and all different celebrations from Christmas to Thanksgiving to going on vacations. And when that person is no longer here, the regret happens in a way that you don't even expect, because you think, your brain is thinking logically, I couldn't have changed anything that happened. God has a plan. If you're a Christian or have faith in any higher power, you would think, okay, he's in a better place. And it comes back to love and how much you love your family. I love my husband very much. And when he brought these bonus children, my son and my daughter, I didn't want to ever think of them as being a step, because it sounds like you're a step away from loving them. You're a step away from being their parent. I wanted to think of them as my child, which my family, my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, all did. And I wanted to treat them with the discipline I would my child, but also with the love and the structure, and giving them the same as my children that were my biological children. But because you're not the biological parent, you're the bonus parent, as Jada Pinkett Smith says about her bonus child. You have a separation where you have to step back because you don't want to overstep. But the loss that you feel, I think, in my opinion, I can't say it's greater because I've never lost my biological child, but it's something that only a parent who is a bonus parent could really understand. It is a gut-wrenching, devastating, horrific feeling. And when I found out that we lost him, I went into a spiral, depression, and it's still something I'm dealing with now. But I don't want to get into all the details of what happened with him because I'm not ready to really talk about it. But I will say it's almost like therapy watching the Red Table Talks, because a lot of times when the Red Table Talk has guests, they will talk about things that kind of make me reflect on my family and in my relationship. And when I see the mother of Jada Pinkett Smith and her daughter, and I see that they, with all the things that they have in their life going on, are taking, I don't know if it's 30 minutes or so, to like sit down and really talk about real issues. It makes me think to myself, like, okay, I want my children and my husband and everyone I know and care about and love to be able to do that, because there's something that happens when you just talk really openly, but no script, because I'm not reading from a script, I'm just speaking openly. And you just share your emotions. And so I thought, my husband asked me, when are you going to do another YouTube video? And I don't have a lot of subscribers. I don't have, a great following. And why did I start doing my YouTube channel in the first place? It was because I wanted to document my illnesses. Then I wanted to document my experience with Poshmark and reselling, and then my plant-based dieting, and of course anything in my family that was going on. It was more a way to just document. And I remembered when I got cancer, I thought, I would have loved to write a book, but I didn't have the time, and I would start and I wouldn't finish. But the YouTube videos give me a chance to do, hopefully under 20 minutes or under 30-minute talk. And I thought, when I do these talks, when I'm on the YouTube channel, I'm doing it for my children. I'm not doing it for followers. It's great if people are inspired by it. That's, a great thing, a blessing of it. But I'm really not doing it to be an influencer or a creator. I'm doing it because I want my children to be able to know when I'm gone, this is what Mom was thinking about. And so, as far as reselling goes, I wanted to inspire people to resell. As far as plant-based dieting, I wanted to inspire people to try some recipes that are not, difficult to do. But as far as the personal part of my life, I try not to share that too much because it is a platform for everyone. But I thought I need to discuss this because losing a child, especially a bonus child, is maybe something that other women and men have gone through. And so I wanted them to understand that they're not alone. So I decided to do this video, but I want to say something about loving yourself through it. Understanding you're a human being. Understanding the flaws that you have as a parent. And understanding the fact that it's not going to be okay. You're not going to wake up and say, okay, well, put that away. I solved that problem. The grief that you have, I believe, is something that's going to be there for the rest of your life, and you have to accept it, and you have to move forward with the understanding that through the grief we have to realize our blessings. And that's difficult because you don't want to feel happy. You don't want to feel that there's ever going to be a time where you're going to have the same happiness because you won't have that child to share it with. And I'm still in that phase. But to say, when people say, put it behind you, he wasn't your biological child, you should feel grateful, you should be, looking at the fact that you still have your biological children. They're hurtful things to say because I loved that child. I love all of my children. And I want people to understand, as a bonus child, there was a specialness because I was not given this child through my birth canal. I was given this child through the love of my husband. And I have to go through extra effort with that child. I could tell you many stories about arguments I had with my biological children. And I would just be like, okay, I said what I had to say, did what I had to do, and they'll get over it because they're my children. But with a bonus child, you have to put forth that extra effort that people who don't have bonus children don't get. They don't understand that. It's like if something were to happen with them, I want to make sure they understand I'm here. I got you. But yet at the same time, I don't want to overstep. So it's a balancing act. And it's really something that you have to experience. And if you have not been a step parent, or if you have not been a child who has been a stepchild, the relationship is something that you don't really understand. So when people give you advice about it, you have to just think to yourself, they just don't get it. It's kind of like being a woman. A man's never going to understand what it's like to give birth or anything because they're not a woman. A white person or a person who's not black would not understand what it's like to be black. They can empathize. They can, have sympathy for your situation that you may be in, but no one is going to understand unless they are in that situation. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with them saying, I don't understand. I don't get it. But I still care. But when they say things like, it wasn't really your child, you should get over it, it's hurtful. So I'll say that. But I do want to say, when I was watching the Red Table Talk the other day, Jay Shetty, or Shetty, I think, maybe it's how you say it, was on, and he was talking about love. There is something that we tend to do when we love someone is we want to make them who we want to make them to love them. And this is not just in relation to a relationship that is a marital relationship. It could be a relationship with anyone. And then you get frustrated in that. And you think, well, if they had done X, Y, and Z, or if they do X, Y, and Z, then I could love them better. But what God wants us to do, and whatever higher power you have, it's the same idea. Love is about loving as you are. God never says, I know that you did X, Y, and Z, and so I can't love you at that stage. You have to be here or here. Remember, he was the one who was with Mary Magdalene. He was the one who was with people who were not necessarily, I'm talking about Jesus at this time, who was not necessarily the most upright or best in society type of people. But he loved them where they were. And so when you're going to love someone, regardless of where that person might be in your life, remember, you can't make them who you might want them to be. You have to accept them where they are and love them in that moment. That's the best thing you can do in loving someone. And when you're dealing with someone who's going through grief, flowers are nice, time is nice, talking is nice. But the best thing to do is to listen and just allow them to talk through whatever they're feeling without you trying to figure it out for them or make their grief the way you would think it should be. All I can say is you have to accept that the grief is going to be there. It's not going away. When you love someone, you don't have that person anymore. Grief is not necessarily a horrible thing. It's actually something that can heal you, I believe, because it does help you remember that person. And when you're sad, sometimes sadness is good because it helps you heal. So when people say, get over it, move forward, it's only, in my mind, it's not about the time frame, how long it was in June, this is August. I believe that my love will not end. I'm not going to put away his pictures and not want to look at, I want to look at more pictures. I want to think about more things we could have done because it helps me keep him alive. And the whole idea of, burying who he was or burying the memory, it doesn't help me. It hurts me. So in my opinion, it's very important to talk about that person and talk about, he was going to go to dental school and I had talked to him about that. And my dog is barking. And I have memories of, what he would have been doing in dental school. And it's not a bad thing to think about that. It makes me think, I want to, go to school because he was going to do that. So maybe, I can honor him in that way. It's my dog. I guess that's my time up. But I want to just say, it's really, really important for us to allow whoever is grieving to grieve in the way they want to grieve. And during this time, when we're losing a lot of our loved ones, I think it's really important to understand grief and understand that if that person needs to watch Red Table Talk to get them through it, or maybe talk to a friend, whatever they need to do, allow them that. And sometimes they might need to sleep more or get out more or, have some time with people that they love. Whatever it is they need to do, allow them to do it. Give them that space or give them more time, more telephone conversations. Whatever it is they need, give it to them. Because it is something, when you lose a child, it is something that, and a lot of people will say this, is an unnatural thing. But it's something that happens every day to so many people. And being a bonus parent or having a bonus child is a very common thing. So for that bonus child to no longer be a part of your family, it is horrific. It is devastating. But it's something that you have to deal with if you're going to stay in that family. Lots of families break up over the loss of a child. But to stay in it and to struggle through it and to accept each other's way they're grieving and heal from it, to me is the way that you get through it. So anyway, I just want to say during this time we're all losing our loved ones, remember that you don't know unless you're in their shoes, and allow them to be the guide to how you're going to get through it. So I'll have more videos about reselling. I'm going to get back to my Poshmarking, and of course I'm still trying to write my plant-based diet cookbook, and I'll give you more videos later on. But at this time I'm still healing in my grief. And as far as my health goes, this has put me into a lupus flare. If you notice, I got some locks. I did this myself because I just needed to get my hair done because it made me feel a little better, and my nails, and things I have to do for myself to make me feel a little better in lupus flare are little things, but it does help my emotional state when I can do something for myself. So being in a lupus flare, I've been on the medications. I've had to add Xanax to help me, cope a little bit. But it's important during this time to take your medications, to make sure that you're doing whatever therapies are going to help you. And I also do lavender oil and, do massage on my back and, my legs and, my feet to help circulation and help my joints. So those are things I've been doing with my self-care. And I have been doing some writing as well and journaling. So some good things is my son proposed, so I'm going to be a mother-in-law. Thank you, Jesus. And so I'm excited about that. And I had a daughter who graduated from high school. So she's going to start school, and I plan to start school as well just to get some more education and have another reason to honor my my son, my bonus son, because he was going to do that. So those are things that I'm trying to do to help me through this process of grieving. And I'm sorry if anyone has lost someone that they love, a child especially. And I pray that you all will depend on those that you have still here and love on them, because that is, I believe, another way to heal. Okay, so it's been my 20 minutes are up, and I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Please subscribe and share. Give it a like if you think I helped in any way. My goal is, with these videos, as I said, to leave something behind for my children, but also to maybe help anyone out there who is having these kind of issues that I'm talking about. And watch the Red Table Talk. I think it's a great show on Facebook. It has helped me a whole lot. So, time's up. Thanks a lot. Take care and be safe. Wear your mask. And we'll get through this together. I'll see you in my next video. Like, share, and subscribe.